My mother-in-law got me pregnant. Am I the asshole for not keeping it?
Those are the guys that are they just want a mom 2.0 when they get a wife.
Y'all, there is a difference between a man who wants to be a husband and a man who wants a wife.
The boy moms, weirdos, man. They're always weird.
My mother-in-law found my nudes on her husband's phone.
This ongoing betrayal completely crushes your entire relationship.
I can't imagine if I woke up one day and found out that you had been exploiting me behind my back for years.
That's an earth-shattering moment right there.
I love doing this with you.
I know, I love doing this with you, baby.
Okay. Okay, well, I do want to say, before we hop into this episode, we did have one of our besties be like, yeah, they're cute, but the jerking each other off every episode gets old. And that kind of hurt my feelings. We're in love.
I think they just
Are we in love?
self-admitted to that they watch every episode.
I know, I
so.
love that. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
for watching. And if you're here right now, we're going to try to keep that
Thanks for
toned
watching.
down for you, okay?
Let the jerking commence.
Oh, okay. Grant said we're not going to tone it down. We're going to jerk.
No, we're not toning it down. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, you know, he must have watched some episodes where it was just like
I love it.
us
I love
in
you
such a good, happy mood. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we come on here and we're not always in a jerk off mood. You know
that's
what I mean?
true.
Yeah, there's sometimes, but I mean, I just love you so much, so I don't know what to say. Like,
You're so sweet.
What do
Please
you
don't
want?
get
What do
sick
you
of
want
us,
from me?
guys. Yeah, I mean, don't you guys love that we're in love? We're trying to help you do the same thing with your partner.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Hanging Out Forever podcast. My name is Asia Corinne, your host. I'm here with my wonderful boyfriend of 9-something-ish, something like that years, and
Something like that.
co-host, Grant Blackwell.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Welcome back, besties. We are finna get into it. And also, by the time this podcast comes out, we will officially be 100,000 besties strong across all platforms.
Let's go.
So
No,
we love
yeah.
you guys so much. Thank you for rocking with us. We're so excited for a lot of the plans that we want to have in the future come to fruition. We have so many things that you guys are going to love now and in the future as well. So stick with us. Keep rocking with us.
We're all gonna keep growing together. Let's do it, guys.
We're going to keep growing together. You know, right now we're all besties. We finna be bestie nation. We finna take it over, okay? So anyway, we are probably your favorite relationship podcast. And in this episode, we are doing listener letters. Just to let you know, our listener letters are now going to drop the second week of every month. And we drop episodes on Tuesdays, okay? So the second Tuesday every month, expect a listener letter, expect some crazy stories, expect some shares. And you guys have in between now and then to submit as many letters as you want for us to read, react to, and give you advice on if that's what you're looking for.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming, babies.
Yep.
So we're starting off hot and strong and crazy.
Let's dive on into it.
Dive on in.
Dive on in. Dive on in.
Okay.
And as always, guys.
Yes.
Asia has read them because she goes through them and, you know, make sure
I've
that they're all
skimmed
good to
them.
read. She's skimmed them. I'm going in blind. So this is a complete reaction, blind reaction from me. So I'm excited to hear. I heard that we got some crazy stuff. But there is a theme for this one. There is a theme, right?
Thank you for reminding me. There is a theme in this one because this one is about crazy in-laws for the most part.
All three of them.
No, the second one is like just regular, but
Okay.
the two, there's three. We usually read about like 3 to 4 letters in an episode. So the 2 of them are so strong that I was just like, this might as well just pretty much be an in-law episode. So here we go, guys.
Got it.
Monster in-laws are commencing.
Get ready, guys.
We're finna dive on in to these listener letters.
Dive on in.
And the first one is, am I the asshole? Okay. My mother-in-law got me pregnant. Am I the asshole for not keeping it?
Hang on wait.
Yeah, let that soak in.
Hang on, wait.
Let that soak in.
My mother-in-law got me pregnant.
Yep.
Am I the asshole?
For not keeping it.
How does that work?
We finna find out. Okay, ready?
Gotcha.
So I, 28 female, and my husband, 31 male, recently got married 6 months ago. Yay, us. I'm currently finishing up my residency, and he is already stable in his career as a software engineer. Until I'm officially a doctor, we've decided that he would pay all the bills, car notes, insurance, utility, rent, etc., and that we would also wait to have kids. We're excited to be parents in the future, but not right now, it says in all caps.
Gotcha.
We've discussed this multiple times and agreed now is not the time, and we would try in my mid-30s. Unfortunately, 4 months ago, we got pregnant. It was completely unexpected and not a point of excitement for us. We just got married and I don't have time in my pathway to my career to be pregnant or even a mom right now. We were so confused about how this could happen. We consistently use protection. Yes, even though we're married, because we are that serious about it. I don't have birth control, nor do I have, I don't have birth control implants, nor do I take the pills because they've always given me negative effects. So I stopped using them years ago. Cue my mother-in-law, who is the fucking worst.
Oh my gosh. I think I kind of know where this is going now. Yeah.
Ever since my husband and I have been together 6 years, she has been hounding us for children. He is her only child, and she is the quintessential boy mom, obsessed with him, calling him all the time, talking about how he was her first true love.
Creepy.
When we first got married, she tried wearing white to the wedding. We prevented her from this, but she did change before the reception and wore her own white dress. She constantly tells him it's inappropriate for him to be with a woman who is so obsessed with the workforce, and that I should be making a home for him and giving him babies. He sets boundaries, but she is truly insufferable. I hate feeling like I'm competing with her. It's the fucking worst.
Oof.
Anyway, our friends and other family know about us not having kids until I'm ready, and it's a big running joke. So at our wedding, our friends bought us 300 condoms. It was funny and everyone had a good laugh except for her. She was fuming and made a fucking scene at the reception. She didn't ruin the wedding, but she did ruin the vibes. When we left for our honeymoon, we asked her to house sit our home and babysit our cat and plants. We were gone almost 3 weeks, and she called nearly every single day, asking him for something, needing something, and sometimes crying that she missed him, asking when he'd come home to her. It was ridiculous. Luckily, he barely answered, but of course, she left voicemails. Everything was an emergency. The plant watering schedule, the cat feeding time, the AC, everything. I told my husband she tried to ruin our wedding and we're not going to let her have our honeymoon too. That's when he finally set his foot down. The next time she called, he answered and immediately was like, "Mom, we don't have kids for a reason, so stop acting like a child. Unless my house is on fire, do not call us again." She went silent and then said, "You will have children soon and I will have someone to talk to," and hung up. The rest, I know, it's insane.
What?
The rest of our trip was a dream. When we got home, of course, we went back to normal routine, using condoms, having sex, finishing with protection, back to work, everything. A few weeks later, I missed my period. Weird, but I thought Saucy Susan would come. That's what I call my period. Sorry.
All right, Saucy Susan.
Okay, why do I low-key love that?
That's pretty good.
Where's my Saucy Susan?
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. Okay. Susan never came. I thought, okay, false alarm. Maybe my hormones are just off or something. I took 3 pregnancy tests and all came back positive. I was so confused. Yes, we were having sex, but how could I be pregnant? I told my husband about it and we immediately scheduled time at the clinic. I was sitting at home feeling horrible about myself because I had never been pregnant before. And even though I wasn't ready, I knew this was still a big decision to make. I started thinking about how this could happen, and it made me realize that over the last few weeks, my mother-in-law constantly asked about babies, saying that she has a feeling we will get pregnant. I thought this had to be related in some way. IDK why? But it made me remember how mad she was about the wedding condoms. I went to our bedside drawer where we kept them and looked through an already open pack and inspected them. I noticed that a few of the condoms had teeny holes in the packaging. I thought maybe this was just an error. So I went through the rest of the box and realized every single one had a hole in it.
A psycho.
That's when I realized that while we were gone on our honeymoon, my mother-in-law had sabotaged our condoms, hoping I would get pregnant and keep the baby.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Okay. When I told my husband about it, he lost his mind. He called his mom and immediately started yelling at her about what she did, and she didn't even try to deny it.
Jeez.
She just said, "Since you don't want anything to do with me, I want someone who will." He told her that we are already making plans to have an abortion, and if we ever do have children, she won't have anything to do with them. She screamed, telling him that I was a bad influence on him and that he's changed ever since he's been with me, and I would be a toxic mother, and getting rid of a baby is a sin and should be a crime. Even though I don't like her, everything she said about me not keeping the baby felt true, even though I knew I wasn't ready. And on top of that, I know my husband loves his mother, and I don't want them to be at odds. Even though what she did was disgusting, many of his cousins and aunts and uncles who have heard about the situation are blaming us, especially me. I feel violated.
What?
I know. Insane.
Oh my gosh.
I feel violated because she removed my choice and my autonomy and the special feeling of being pregnant for the first time on my terms. So even though my consent in the situation was violated, am I the asshole?
No, that's insane to me. Okay, that's an insane story, by the way. I knew that where it was going in the beginning, but I thought it was like she hid her birth control pills or switched out her birth control pills or something like that. But that's like just as crazy, actually.
I feel like this is worse.
I mean, that is like,
I guess they're equally
you're
bad,
going
yeah.
through a lot to poke holes in every single condom. That's
and
pretty
she must have
insane.
like used a syringe or something.
Like a needle or something.
Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think of that. You don't check that when you're just grabbing a condom in the moment. But what is so unfair and ridiculous is the aunt and uncles and stuff blaming them.
I know,
for this
I'm
psychotic
shocked.
thing that the mother did.
I
Like,
think
that's
that,
insane.
I think it's maybe the type of thing where, I don't know, she said getting rid of a baby is a sin. So he must be coming like from a super religious background.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're maybe reconciling what she's doing.
They're weighing out
they're like, okay, she violated you and your consent, but you're also getting us some s'mores. So which is worse? I mean, okay, yeah. What are your thoughts?
I mean, first off, boy moms are weirdos. They're freaks. Like that pseudo-sexual weird relationship with you and your mom. I'm assuming this guy, there wasn't a father. Is that what's happening?
She
here?
didn't mention one. So
They didn't mention
it didn't
one.
sound like that he has a dad around.
Yeah, that weird pseudo-sexual relationship between a boy mom and, you know, a mom is so weird to me. And that always ends up bad for the wife, the future wife of that guy.
I hate
it always
boy mom
ends
content.
up it always ends up bad because the mom will always overstep. She'll always butt into your relationship. She'll try to make decisions for you, and then it kind of demasculates the guy towards the wife too. If you're letting your mom just walk all over you and make all these decisions for you, and they're usually used to being babied too, so that will you know kind of come into the relationship as well and probably cause issues. That the boy moms. Weirdos, man. They're always weird.
I can't stand boy mom content because especially when she's like, good luck getting him to fall in love with you. I was his first love. I am his mom. I'm like, ew.
Creepy.
Like, what girl wants to compete with her man's mother for
Those
attention,
moms are
love, and
always
affection?
single too. Those moms are always single, or they always have a
Neglected.
husband that they hate. Yeah, that they're neglected by. Yeah.
I don't know. The whole story is insane to me. Like finishing up a residency is already hard enough. She already has a career path. She wants to be a doctor. I mean, obviously, girl, you are not the asshole. There has to be a way to like, well, she probably won't do this, but there has to be a way to press charges against the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
But it's also like, would she do that? You know? And I think her husband was trying to set boundaries with the mom as much as possible. It didn't seem as though he lets his mom walk all over him, but it did seem like he's a little bit too lenient with setting his boundaries.
It had to get to a boiling point before
Yeah.
he actually put his foot down, it seems like. And
That'd be a huge issue for me.
I mean, yeah, that is such a violation of privacy. Like that is so crazy. You could definitely, I feel like, press charges against somebody like that. I don't know what that would be called. Like what?
Well, like when you take off a condom when you're having sex with a girl, that's like considered grape in a way because it's called stealthing because you didn't give consent to have raw sex essentially.
It's non-consensual. It makes it non-consensual. And for you to think that you have authority over somebody's body like that and because you want grandchildren, that is so sad and so insane. I think that the mom she has serious issues. Clearly, she needs to like go to therapy or somebody. She needs somebody to talk to, is what it seems like. So I think she should find a good therapist and talk to them and get some real guidance because it seems like she's talking to her brothers and sisters who are like the aunts and uncles, and they're probably looking at it like she did nothing wrong because they all have the exact same mindset.
Right.
And they're like, oh my gosh, they want to abort it. You know, they think that is the problem here. Yeah, they think that's the problem in the situation where there was this huge line that was stepped over, you know? And Yeah, that's insane. I'm so glad that I don't have a crazy in-law like that.
I'm glad your parents aren't crazy. That would suck. Like,
know.
oh my God. If your mom was a boy mom.
Oh, geez.
Your mom is like major feminist. I don't even think she likes men in general,
She's
which
the
I
opposite
respect.
of a boy mom. She's the opposite of a boy mom.
Your mom is just kind of like, you know? I love that about her.
I like that too. I mean, like, I don't want a mom that's constantly in my business and making things weird and
about her.
Yeah,
like, oh
exactly.
my God, you haven't talked to me anymore since you and Asia have been together. Why don't you call me anymore? That made me sick.
This is making me really appreciate my mom because my mom is like so not like that. She's so not selfish and not self-centered whatsoever. She's so chill and calm, and I think that, you know, I really appreciate that about her, and I think I get a lot of that from her, of like that calm, reserved energy. And yeah, I'm just glad that she's not super out there and trying to control my life and trying to overstep boundaries and things like that. She has so many boundaries, almost too many boundaries.
You're like, call me
She's
sometimes.
got too many borders up. You know what I mean? We can break some of those down, but no, but I love how my mom is and how her mind works, you know?
I really appreciate that. We don't have in-laws, like either of us have in-laws that are too, I mean, my parents are very much in our business, but it's not like they're trying to control our
overstepping.
lives.
Yeah.
Like they're just present. And I really appreciate that. But I feel like with this woman, it is so sad and scary, especially because like at the wedding, do I think that condoms is an appropriate gift at a wedding? No, not really. But I don't know who, maybe they're alternative people. Maybe they like got a little thing. It's like not a big deal to do that type of thing at their wedding. But for me, she said that their family and friends understood. So I don't know if it's their friends, collective friends, and then her family versus everybody's family.
Did it say how long they were together?
Yeah, I think she said like 6 years.
6 years? Who's using condoms at 6 years? I'm sorry to be that guy, but who's using POM, my guy?
POM.
POM, baby. Spell it out. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, she's on track to be a doctor.
I know, yeah.
They're being chances.
Yeah, they're being very safe.
I mean, I also was just like, wow, 6 years, condoms, that's interesting.
That's rare.
But, you know, to each his own. I think that that's awesome if they can keep up with that. There's a lot of people who are just like a year in, like, let's just keep it loose. Let's keep it fast and loose. But when she said that, like, they had been married, I think she said they've been together for 6 years or something like that in here. But like the insufferability of a bad mother-in-law will totally taint your relationship because they change the trajectory and the experience of love for you, because they're always present, they're always there, and they're trying to insert themselves in your life because they feel forgotten or left behind, whether that's that they're single and they're single mothers and they always have been and they don't have healthy boundaries within themselves, or they have a husband that is like not attending to their needs, and so they feel as though having a son is almost like a surrogate husband replacement. And they get that connection of having like any type of masculine energy projected onto them from their sons. So when their sons move on and start dating like women or getting married, they're not used to they don't want to let go of that connection. So then they become extra insane and crazy and make it really difficult for the wife to even like navigate her relationship with their sons. And I just think it's so crazy. Like, girl, move on. It's gross. It's would you say weird. Pseudosexual? Yeah,
it's the pseudosexual relationship, but it's also like, no matter how amazing or perfect that wife is, or that girlfriend or that spouse, whatever, they'll never live up to
You're
the mom.
You're never going to be good enough for my son.
Yeah, or the mom, there will always be that jealousy there. You know, so you can't please a person like that. You can't please a woman like that, you know, a mom like that.
And I also think it's weird when people say things like, I want to date a woman that's just like my mom.
Yeah.
That's gross.
I know.
I don't care what anybody says. That's weird.
I saw this clip the other day, and it was this guy talking about how he was like, you know, he actually made it sound like reasonable. He was like, you know, my wife, she reminds me a lot of my mom in a lot of ways. She's like, obviously, like they're not exactly the same. That would be weird, but you do tend to get with people that kind of reflect your mother in certain ways, whether it's like personality wise or how they treat you or just little things like that. I mean, looks would be insane, but looks would be creepy. But I was thinking about it, and like, you and my mom are similar in some ways.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys, you and my mom are both very, you know, strong women.
Strong Black women.
Yeah, obviously. No, but you guys really like are convicted in a lot of ways. You guys stick to what you know, and you are both just very intelligent. You know, I mean, very intelligent, both very intuitive. You and my mom are both really intuitive. I've noticed she's so good at guessing what's going to happen next, or like even when it comes to betting or gambling, things like that, she's just randomly lucky. You know, she's always lucky, but I think it's because the way her mind works, she thinks of all the moving parts of it, and she can really put two and two together.
Cosmic because she's an Aries and so am I.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
She's
They're
my
both
Aries twin.
Yeah, that's true too. You're both Aries. You guys do have some similarities.
No, and that's not weird at all. I think it totally makes sense. Like, I would say that my older brother was the masculine figure in my life that taught me what I should expect from a man, right? I love my dad. He said it to me plenty of times. We'll have a podcast in the future with him, but he has literally mentioned like that when he had me, he would pray and he'd be like, Lord, please don't let her end up with a guy like me. Right.
Yeah.
So I end up with somebody similar to my older brother, Jamma.
Yeah.
And Jamma's very calm. He's very reserved. He's very kind. He's very present. And he's very, very respectful and he's sweet. And those are a lot of qualities that you have. But I'm not saying it's weird to date somebody who has similar qualities to your mother or to your father figure.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's weird to say, I want to date somebody just like my mom.
It is weird.
Because then you're not giving anybody else room to deviate from not being exactly like your mom. Like, okay, I am similar to your mom in a lot of ways as it pertains to our core personality traits, but your mom is not confrontational at all. And I totally am.
Yeah,
so
for
like
sure.
if you were
There's
very
a lot
much,
of differences too.
Yeah. So if you're very much like, I want to date a woman exactly like my mom, that doesn't leave any room for women coming into your life to be anything else.
That's a good point.
Because you're hyper focused on doing something that's exactly like, you're hyper focused on following the type of woman that is exactly like your mom. You have a blueprint and you don't want to deviate from that.
Yeah,
so people who are
good
like
point.
hyper obsessed with, I want to date somebody just like my dad. I want to date somebody just like my mom. That is so weird to me because you could easily say, I want to be with somebody that treats me like my dad does. Or treats me like my dad treats my mom.
Yeah,
or has
exactly.
these similar traits to my parent or my father figure,
And
my
that's
mother
what I think
figure.
most people want is like what they see in the home, especially if you have parents that were together for a really long time. It depends. I mean,
there are some people who want like a mom.
Yeah.
Like I want to date somebody just like my mom who will clean up after me, who will wake me up in the morning.
That's what I was going to say.
My laundry.
That's what I was going to say about people who think that they want somebody exactly like their mom. You know, that's trait for trait, duty for duty, everything that they've done for them their entire life. They want somebody to just fill that void, you know, but, yeah, I think that's what most men that say, I want a woman exactly like my mom. My mom was the first love of my life. You know, all these all these
I'm not
crazy
trying to compete with your mama.
things.
Like, that's
I know.
nasty.
And there's always a weird pseudo-sexual relationship there, that always with guys who say that, and it's like, you know, my mom's sexy. She looks sexy and stuff like that. Or you know what I mean? Like just saying weird, off-putting things like that. And but those are the guys that are they just want a mom 2.0 when they get a wife. You know, they want a woman to come in their life, be their wife, but also just pick up where their mom left off, like do the cleaning, do all these household duties, things like that. That's what they want,
because they don't want to. They don't want to be a husband.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
want a wife, and there is a difference between a man who wants to be a husband and a man who wants a wife. A man that wants a wife wants an object, wants somebody to satisfy his needs and to play a specific role.
They want the position filled.
Exactly. But a man who wants to be a husband wants to show up for somebody. That man likely wants to be a husband. He wants to give himself and dedicate himself and share himself in ways that are unexplored because he hasn't had that dynamic with anybody else. But a man that just wants a wife is looking for, like you said, a mommy 2.0. But I know we went off a little bit on the topic there, but first of all, I'm gonna start calling my period Saucy Susan. That's
Susan.
the funniest thing I've ever, because I call it a Zeriad. I'm like, I didn't get my Zeriad, but I'm gonna start calling it a Saucy Susan because it's just gross enough to be hilarious. But I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so unfortunate.
I forgot about the
No, we're talking about relevant things because
gotcha.
I feel like this guy, her husband's low key kind of has like a mommy issues
for sure. Seems like he's getting out of it though, and he's learning how to set the boundaries.
Yeah, and like she didn't mention anything about a father, and he's the only child. So, well, I'm pretty sure that's what she said. So I understand that would be a very difficult, like, you don't want to move away from your mom.
Well, you can't blame him. You can't blame him for how his mom acts.
Yeah. And I'm just like, she'd be alone probably if she didn't have him. So I understand the hesitancy of not wanting to like get on her case and jump right in. But, you know, I'm so sorry that that your mother-in-law got you pregnant and you weren't able to have like a blissful experience as you had planned. I don't know if it makes you feel better, but a lot of women choose to go the route that you chose, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to do what's better for you at the end of the day, and you know you want to be a doctor. And I've never personally heard of a lot of women especially, who are doctors finishing their residencies pregnant.
Yeah, and you know, you took the route where you can control the situation, and you can be responsible enough to make sure that you're at a point in your life where you're ready to take on a child, and you can be the best mother you know you can be. And I'm sure you'll be a great mother. You'll be a doctor. You'll have some good security there.
It'll be great.
Yeah, and it seems like your husband loves you a lot, and you know, enough to like really put his foot down to his mom. And if he's telling her like, you can't see these children once we finally do have children, that means he's putting you first.
Right.
So,
and be with a man that puts you first always.
Exactly. Cool.
Even if he has a crazy mom. Okay. Actually, really quick before we move on.
Yeah.
If that did happen to us, if your mother did that to me, what would you do? But your mom wouldn't do that. So let's say you have a crazy psycho boy mom, weird mom.
Oh man. I mean, I want to say that I would cut her off. You know, I can't be with somebody who's trying to do these weird schemy things behind my back. Like the trust and loyalty would be completely severed.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think I could personally continue that relationship. I mean, if I did continue the relationship, it would be at a far distance where it's like, you don't come anywhere near me or near my place. I'll come to you maybe every once in a while to see you, but that would completely sever any type of loyalty
if I didn't get pregnant on my own terms.
Yeah.
That's
oh
sad.
yeah. That'd be so crazy. And I mean, you're forcing this person, now I'm thinking about it, it's really messed up. You're forcing this person to go through an abortion, which is traumatic, which is a super traumatic thing. And you're forcing that upon this person it wasn't even their choice to you know, roll the dice in the first place. Yeah. That's insane. Okay. Let's move on. Sad. Yeah. It's messed up.
This one's insane.
Let's do it.
My mother-in-law found my nudes on her husband's phone.
Oy, okay. There it is. Hell of a tagline.
All right. Hey, Asia and Grant, I desperately need some advice. Hey, girl. I, 34, have been with my husband, 38, for almost 8 years. He is the sweetest, most thoughtful, handsome, and kind person I know, and I've always felt like he was my fairy tale. I haven't really had the easiest life. My dad left my mom for another woman when I was 10, so I grew up without a father and a lot of times had to help my mom with my younger siblings. Because of that, I started college a bit later. I attended college out of state, which was like 6 hours from home, and that was a relief because I didn't have to be around so much to help, but it also gave me anxiety, panic attacks, and homesickness so badly that the first year of school, I nearly crashed and burned. I was on the verge of dropping out and going back home until I spoke with my women's study professor, who convinced me to stay, helped me get my focus and my grades back on track, and introduced me to other kids around campus so I could make friends, and spoke with my counselors on my behalf. He was a major part in me being able to graduate college and someone I could truly connect with. Even after I was no longer in his class, we'd make time to see each other on campus, and he'd always make jokes about how I'm like a second daughter to him, and I felt that way too. Especially because I didn't have a dad of my own. It was nice that somebody cared about me. He'd always joked about wishing he had a son to set me up with, but both of his sons were taken. I thought, just my luck. One winter break, I decided not to go home and stay in town. I had no plans really. My mom had just gotten remarried. Love him. She's saying she loves her stepdad. So it was the first time I didn't feel the urgency to go home and help my family. So I decided to take some time for me for once. My professor asked me what my plans were, and of course I told him nothing. So he invited me to Christmas dinner with his wife and kids. I joked, maybe I'll get lucky and one of your sons will be finally single. Ha ha. When I showed up, it was amazing. Their family was so warm, kind, and connected, something I had never experienced. And as I started to get comfortable with one of his sons, we'll call him Jace, walked in. I immediately felt hot all over and nervous. Mr. Z, my professor, introduced us, saying, son,
I thought that she said that he doesn't have sons. I thought he said, I wish I had sons I could set you up with.
They're not single.
Oh, gotcha.
He has sons, but they weren't single at the time.
Gotcha.
Where he mentioned that.
Okay.
I immediately felt hot all over and nervous. Mr. Z introduced us saying, "This is the son I've been telling you about. He's finally single." And it was a little bit awkward, but immediately there was a spark and it felt like love at first sight. Jason and I hit it off and I realized the Christmas invite was a blind date setup. It worked out because we eventually got married and I became Mrs. Z. It was incredible. I had a family that I truly connected with. I love my in-laws and everything was amazing. Fast forward to today. I've spent nearly every Christmas with them for the past 6 years. And my husband and I have this spicy Christmas tradition where he takes sexy Mrs. Claus photos of me. And when I say sexy, I mean super kinky, bondage, handcuffs, like the whole thing. Like career ruining if they ever got out. Haha.
Whoa.
It's just a thing we started doing after we got married. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I love this tradition of ours. It makes me feel sexy and puts so much fire into our relationship. We always do this a week before we spend the holiday at his parents' house. When we got to his parents' house for our most recent visit, my mother-in-law was very distant and cold towards me, which was so strange because she's always treated me like a second daughter.
Mrs.
I brought
Z.
it up. I know, what the hell, Mrs. Z. I brought it up to my husband and he thought nothing of it. Skip to Christmas morning. I woke up early to start prepping the kitchen for dinner, and a little later she came down. Again, she was cold and distant and ignoring me. I was confused and hurt by this because we have the dream mother-daughter relationship, or mother and daughter-in-law relationship. So I pressed her about what was wrong, and she just says, "You know what you've done. You disgust me, and after dinner I want you out of my house."
Whoa.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Dang.
My heart sank, and I felt completely sick. I had no idea what was going on, so I pleaded with her to tell me. So she went upstairs, got my father-in-law's phone, came back and showed me, and what she showed me made me feel like my stomach was going to drop out of my ass. It was a folder filled with my sexy Mrs. Claus photos.
Oh, no. Mr. Z's a creep. What's up with these professors? They're always creepy, man. Always.
I don't know. I had a professor that had a crush on me one time.
They're creeps.
Okay. It was filled with my sexy Mrs. Claus photos. My mother-in-law accused me of two-timing her son and trying to seduce her husband. I immediately broke out of hives, totally turned red, and started to hyperventilate. I had no idea how this could happen. I begged her to listen to me. When I approached her, she pushed me, and I fell into the counter.
Whoa.
She stormed out the house and was gone for 2 hours. I woke my husband up and told him what happened. And he immediately became furious, wondering why my mother-in-law would approach me like that and screaming about how his dad could have gotten my photos. We were both confused about the same thing. He assumed that he must have left his phone out and open and that his dad went through it, something he said his dad used to do all the time when he was in high school.
Oof.
Mm-hmm. I was really uncomfortable, so I wanted to leave immediately. My husband ended up convincing me to stay the night for dinner and that we would leave first thing in the morning. Rude. Y'all should have scrammed immediately.
Yeah.
I had the worst time pretending I was okay in front of his brother, sister, and other family members. All day, I just felt fucking sick. Like, seeing those photos of me that way and knowing someone else had them on their phone made me want to disappear. It was so violating. Why would my father-in-law have these photos of me? He's always been like a father to me. At dinner, I could tell Jason his parents' vibe was so off. His dad didn't speak to me once, which was not like him, and his mother actively ignored me. I felt like everyone in the room could tell something was going on. I barely ate, and what little I did, I threw up after dinner. I tried to go to bed early and felt sick the whole time. How could this happen to me? Mm-hmm. I tried putting together the pieces of how this could happen because it totally makes no sense. Yeah, how does that happen? Okay. It totally makes no sense. I told my husband I could not sleep here tonight and we needed to leave. He agreed and said we could go after he showers. Okay, I feel like her comfort is not a priority.
I know, yeah.
It's kind of
this is
pissing
an
me
insane
off.
Situation, bro.
It's kind of
an insane situation. Like your
me
dad
off.
has nudes of your girl in his phone, and he's got a folder for it too. Ugh, that's rough.
Men. Mm-hmm. That's all I'll say.
That is creepy.
Okay. He took what felt like the longest time ever, so long that it almost felt inconsiderate. While he was in there, I couldn't calm down, so I decided to look through his phone. And what I found was my living fucking hell. I found all the pictures he and I had been taking over the last few years in a photo album in his phone, which is fine. But then I found a group chat with him, his brother, and his dad going back every Christmas for the last 4 years with a text that said, "Merry Christmas, boys," followed by my Mrs. Claus nudes. Mrs. Claus nudes.
God. Why does that feel incestuous?
Because it is.
Yeah, right?
I think I'm gonna
oh my gosh. That's a marriage ruiner right there. That's a marriage ruiner. But that's why he's being so damn nonchalant about it.
I'm now realizing that the theme of this is like women's violation.
It is extremely violating.
Both of these have been violating.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Super
violating.
Followed by my Mrs. Claus nudes. I immediately felt lightheaded and almost passed out. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The responses from his brother and dad were just as horrible.
Oh, gosh.
I'm scared. Should I read them?
She put them? Oh, no. Read them. Ugh.
It says the responses from his brother and dad were just as horrible. Ho, 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 like sex ho, I guess.
With an
Christmas came early. Like,
is there a splash emoji or something at the end?
Well, I didn't want to read this part, but it says Christmas came like. No, I don't want to read that. Just splash emoji. Let's just assume it says splash emoji early. Okay. I'll read it because she clarifies. She said Christmas came, and then I guess on her face, early.
Oh my!
But then she does say, she said, and to clarify, I didn't have any pics like that. So there's not like any actual.
Yeah. They're just being creepy.
They're just being creepy. To clarify, I didn't have any pics like that. It was just a thing they were saying to be cute with each other. Right. And what felt like the worst of all was I began to look at the text thread between my father-in-law and my husband and found a message from the year after we got married. Mm-hmm. And my father-in-law messaged my husband saying, "Now that you've married," her alias, I guess, is Christy, "since I hooked you up with her, I should know how it is."
What the hell, man? That's such a weird, creepy relationship. This is a boy dad.
And he's a women's studies professor. Disgusting.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Predatory.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. It's always those weird. What professor?
Women's studies.
Women's studies?
Which I don't know. That could be anything. Like there's all kinds of classes.
Why is there a man teaching women's studies? Doesn't make
I hate
any
those
sense.
Faux feminists. Like I teach women's studies, men.
Yeah, they're all doing creepy stuff like this.
Okay.
It's so incestuous and weird.
Since I hooked you up with her, I should know how it is. That's when my husband sent him the first photo of me. And somehow over the years, they involved my brother-in-law, who also has a wife. I could barely move. I was paralyzed. This thing I thought was special between my husband and I was nothing but a sick fucking game for him and his boys at my expense. It shattered me. I immediately fled the room with my husband's phone, barged into my in-laws' room, and started hitting my father-in-law. Damn.
Whoa.
Good for her. When they were finally able to get out of bed, I guess she kind of like barged in there and it was like frenzy. Mm-hmm. When they were finally able to get out of bed, everyone in the house had woken up to see what was going on. I read the text out loud for everyone to hear and proved to my mother-in-law what was going on behind my back. Mm-hmm. She lost it, yelling at everyone, slapped her husband and mine in the face and made them all leave. Yeah. Everyone was yelling, trying to get their stories heard, and I just sat in the corner, embarrassed, violated, and scared. My sister-in-law and my mother-in-law were losing it on everyone while my brother-in-law's wife came to hold me. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot they have a sister too.
Yeah. So two sons, a daughter.
Yeah.
And so, okay. Mm-hmm. All the women in the house immediately turned against the men. My mother-in-law was screaming at the top of her lungs, embarrassed that she blamed me and disgusted about the photographic sex ring the men in her family had been sending around of me.
Yeah.
This was the worst Christmas of my entire life. I'm filing for a divorce from my husband. Fucking duh. And so is my mother-in-law, and so is my brother-in-law's wife.
Wow.
Honestly, I did not expect the women to be on my side and never in a million years thought this would happen to me. I have no idea how to move on or if I'll ever be able to date again or feel sexy again. I was violated by a man that grew to feel like a father to me and my own husband.
That is so sad.
How can I eventually move on from this?
That is so sad. That's an earth-shattering moment right there where these people that you trusted so much and put so much loyalty into and so much just care into, and you thought that they had the same trust and care for you, and they just backstab you like that is so intense. Man, that's like a movie.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Wait.
That is so sad.
Okay, guys, for all of you that aren't watching right now on YouTube, I'm crying. Well, my tears, I'm trying to keep the tears back, but I might need a paper towel. That is like
the ultimate betrayal between you and your husband and a man who introduced you to that husband. Yeah, that's just like such an intense betrayal right there. I just couldn't imagine being with somebody for so long and then a betrayal like that happening, or you're finding out about it, this ongoing betrayal, and then it just completely crushes your entire relationship.
And you're like, world, like,
yeah,
I can't. Like, I can't even really imagine feeling like you finally found your dream family just for them to be like your worst nightmare. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most devastating part about it is like, she was like, oh, I didn't grow up with a dad. And I was not able to get through college, barely, I don't know, first semester, whatever. Basically, by the time she had this professor, she was like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know what semester it was, but she was like, to have somebody that you felt like was a father figure and a woman studies professor.
I know that like probably made her feel safe to a certain extent. Like, oh, man.
I just like, honestly, I'm not one of those people that's very often at a loss for words, of words. But this is one of those things where I just like kind of don't even know what to say. And I know. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. That is like super heavy. I really hope that you're getting some therapy, and I hope that you've maintained a relationship with your mother-in-law and your sister-in-law and your ex-sister-in-law.
The Christmas tradition has changed.
Yeah.
Where it's all the women probably meet together,
I just like, I can't imagine it just makes me so emotional because like, if I woke up one day and found out that you had been exploiting me behind my back for years, at my expense, something that I thought we were doing that was like sexy and fun and intimate, and you were sharing it like as this sick inside joke to share with your boys. Worst of all, your father, your family.
That is such a weird.
And you're using that as like, I don't even know, like clout or some sort of like thing to tote around like a trophy, and you're using me as that. And the guy that set us up, who is my father-in-law, like coaxed you into doing that.
And professor that you respected.
Yeah, and it just makes me scared and wonder like what other things was her husband doing before they got married.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't just end up on some weird shit like that.
No.
Like you're doing weird stuff consistently. And so I feel
you've grown up with that. So you've been that your whole life.
Yeah.
And I feel bad too. I mean, I feel obviously the worst for her because she probably felt so exposed with those photos going out and things like that. But I feel really bad for the wife of the father as well, because how do you mend that relationship back with people who are literally your family, your son?
It's
like,
dead.
You can't see your sons any other way than just these disgusting people.
Both of your sons.
Both of them were involved.
It's not even one son. I forgot
it was
about
literally
that.
It was her sons. It was her husband.
It makes me feel
the family
like,
was crushed.
Not to make excuses for the sons, but it really makes me feel like there was some sort of grooming going on with the sons,
with the dad
during their like childhood ages, because you don't just end up like that. Like that's just not something you start doing when you're married and have a wife.
They were taught that from the dad, And
it's just so concerning because I'm like, what type of influence as a parent would you have to have on your sons to, first of all, make them feel like what's it called? Actions. Make them feel like things like this, like
their actions
I don't
are.
Even know.
I know. Seriously, it's really tough to find the words to talk about something like this.
We are insane listener letter central.
Yeah, this one was really dark.
Should we even?
No, I think it's
so fucked up.
It's it's a really interesting story, and I mean, if that person shared it, then obviously she wants us to talk about it. You know, I mean, I'm trying to think. I think that when it comes to like advice for this situation, I think that you have to go off of your own instinct on this one of how you want to, because honestly, you could probably press charges for something like that.
Oh, that's a good point.
You could definitely press charges for them taking those photos and sending them around and things like that. That there's definitely something there. There's a suit there, but I think that you, the mom and the sister and the brother's wife, have gone through something very traumatic together, and I think that you guys should come together in some type of way, whether it's you guys have your own Christmas tradition or you have your own tradition or you guys stay in touch, because you guys went through something and you guys are going to need each other to get through something like that. So I think that you should just be strong for each other. I know that you were kind of the victim in this, in the way of, well, I mean, like, everybody seems like a victim in this one, but
she's the primary
all the women
victim.
seem like a victim in this, but she was the primary victim for sure. Because your those photos of you were exposed, and I think that you guys should be strong for each other, pretty much, and you guys should continue to build that relationship.
I would say, please seek therapy for sure.
Yeah.
I know enough about myself to know when I'm out of my depth, and I don't really know what to say about this. And at the end, she was like, I need like some advice.
Yeah.
And the best advice I could give is just to go to therapy, because I couldn't imagine finally feeling like you're living your fairy tale just for it to all come crashing down around you. Mm-hmm. And like a literal avalanche of just violation, shame, embarrassment, trust issues. Mm-hmm. It makes me so upset because I couldn't imagine feeling like I couldn't trust you. Like waking up one day and the person that you've been to me for the last 9 years is not who you are at all. And I think that that's the scariest part about it. And there are so many women who have a difficulty with dating and trusting men, because I think there's a lot of men who are very capable of pretending to be somebody they're not for a very long time. And I think that men, I would say, are better at projecting a false image of themselves into the world for longer periods of time than women are. And I don't really know what the psychology is behind that, but like, I don't know. I would just feel,
I don't know what that is either. I think it might be like a testosterone thing or just something like that, because, men, we're the majority amount of serial killers, we're the majority amount of violent offenders. Mm-hmm. There's something to that of, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not saying like all men are capable of something like that, but
no, not all men, but it's always
the
a
majority of people who are capable of that are men. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that even when like a woman is manipulative or, does things behind your back, it's never to the extent of something like that. It's never to the extent of so shattering and so dark, that it completely shatters trust and shatters a marriage.
I feel bad about this episode. Like, I did not put it together until we're reading it that it's like just violating for
It's so violating.
the women involved.
Yeah.
And like they shared it with us, but I also kind of just...
Well, we're not taking it lightly, you know what I mean? Like what we're saying about it, and this is serious. It is serious, And if people are like telling us this stuff and wanting advice, there are some things that are out of our depth. We can give our thoughts on it, but I wouldn't take this as like advice or what you should do from that, because we've never experienced something like that. And I think that you should go with your own path on it,
Therapy.
Yeah. Therapy. I think keeping a strong relationship with the women who are involved in it.
How do you ever learn how to trust a man again? Like you already have the first level. You already have the first layer of inability to trust a man because your dad left for another woman when you were 10. And then you meet this guy and you're like, oh, he's a good guy. He's a women's studies professor. I could probably trust him. And then he sets you up with the son. You're like, oh my God, I'm so in love. And then
it's like a picture perfect.
Both end up violating you. But I'm just, there's no bright side to this story. But the only thing that I actually that I find relief in is the fact that her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law and then the brother-in-law's wife, that kind of got me confused a little bit, but the brother-in-law's wife, they all chose her.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very rare. Well, no, because not, like in a lot of situations when men violate other people or women, the wives have to dig themselves so deeply in like a hole of denial that they ignore that there's a problem that they ignore the problem.
Yeah.
And I'm just really happy that didn't happen with her, but I'm devastated that this happened to her.
They saw the reality of it, but it's also like there had to be I'm thinking of the father and his wife. There had to probably be signs of he isn't who like people think he is, you know? I think that's probably why she was so quick to be on the son's wife's side or be on her side, because she probably saw patterns with the husband. If the husband is teaching his sons to act that way, I don't know. She probably saw patterns.
Sociopaths can assimilate. That's their thing. That's why, like, when somebody's a serial killer, they're most often a sociopath. I think that there are a lot of people who, maybe not a lot of people, but people who are dating like sociopaths and psychopaths, they don't know that they're out there murdering people. They have no idea because they're so Dexter.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously Dexter is fictional, but like there are so many serial killers who have, yes, some of them are weird. Most of them are really weird. And it's like, you kind of didn't know. But then you have to think about how long these people are going murdering people without people actually being able to suspect that it's them. And like the Ted Bundy situation, nobody thought that he was a murderer because he was charismatic and handsome. You know, so like, why would she think her husband's a creep? I just feel like some things you just, I don't know.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one.
All right, y'all. I am going to try my best to bounce back energetically. Like I said, I skimmed through that listener letter. I skimmed through all of them so that my reactions can essentially remain as neutral and uninformed as possible. But I chose these like a week ago. So when we started the podcast, I know we started this episode very much like, haha, mother-in-law, like monster-in-law stuff. But because I hadn't looked at these stories in so long, I mean, it's been a week, but still, it was a really busy week. I kind of forgot the impact that they had. And so I do want to pause for a second and make it clear that the whimsy that we had at the beginning of this episode is not a reflection of how we feel about these stories. And I don't know, I wish we had started the episode a little bit differently. I got my memory jogged about how intense and insane these were. But just know that we do not take things like this lightly, especially the last one, or violence against women. So. Yeah. We're trying to get our energy back because that last one was insane. Okay. I have a boyfriend of 9 months and I still can't keep my ex out of my mind. My ex was the first guy I did everything with. We were so toxic for each other, but somehow our love overpowered it. He still loves me to this day, and I don't want to get back together with him. I love my boyfriend. He's so sweet and funny. He is basically what I have always prayed for, but my ex was my first love. I want to let my ex go, but every time I'm around him, I can't stop thinking of what our relationship used to be. I lose control over myself to the point that I have to be far away from him. My ex and I used to have an on-again, off-again relationship until I completely cut him off to work on myself. That was when I resulted to try to get back into my Catholic faith and start praying. I prayed for a sweet and funny man who would always treat me with respect and not only be with me for my body. That was when I met my current boyfriend. I cannot express nor explain the love I have for him. So I feel so guilty to be still mourning the loss of my past relationship. I just need advice on how to move on from someone who was so toxic so I can finally feel happy and free. P.S. I am a new fan and I really love you guys' podcast.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
That was
Appreciate
sweet.
it.
We needed that one after these other ones.
Yeah, we did.
We appreciate everybody for sharing, but those were really intense. Okay, so it is normal to feel guilty if you are still having feelings about an ex. I would say it depends on how long you guys have been broken up for.
Yeah.
Because I have a boyfriend of 9 months. I can't keep my ex out of my mind. Okay. But we don't know how long her and the ex were together. So if her and the ex were together for like 7 years, 5 years, 3 years.
What's the gap in between the breakup as
She
well?
didn't say.
Okay. Yeah. So that has a lot to do with
That's
it too.
true. That does have a lot to do with
the gap
it.
in between the breakup. But personally, I don't think I would want to get with somebody who is still having doubts or having feelings about their ex.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure over time those will subside. But yeah, I think that you would probably sense some distance from her too if she still has somebody else in the back of her mind. I think that you would definitely be able to tell and be able to sense that. And I think that it will pull you guys apart. And if you guys aren't strong enough, you guys probably won't be able to get through it.
Yeah.
It seems like she really likes this guy though. So, you know, I think with time is always the best, you know, remedy for getting over somebody.
Right. Of course.
Being separated from them. But it also has to do with, you know, especially if they see them consistently, like if they still, you know, pass by each other in the grocery store or live in the same hometown, whatever it may be, that's tough. That makes it tougher to get over and move on from that person. And two, it makes it tough for your partner to fully trust if you're going to be loyal or if you're not going to be trying to meet up with this person, if you have access to them.
Right.
You know, with me and my ex, it was, you know, we broke up and then I moved to LA. So there's a pretty big, you know, gap there in between me being able to just go back to my ex or call her if I want or hang out with her if I want. So I had that separation. So I wasn't consistently thinking of her.
I feel like I said it's normal to feel like you're mourning the past relationship, especially if you spent a long time. Like if you and I broke up and I don't know, a year later I get in a relationship with a new guy, I'm not going to not think about you. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
I would think about you all the time. But I think it depends on the terms of which you broke up. And you have to realize that like there was a reason y'all are not together. And instead of focusing on the parts of your ex that you miss, start focusing on what about your new man that you love. Especially the girl, this is the man you prayed for, girl.
Yeah.
You prayed for this man. Don't tell me that you over here praying for a man and missing your ex. No, I'm keeping you accountable on that. We got to move on.
Yeah.
So if you want to really like get to a place in your mind where you're not thinking about your ex, just write it down. Just like write down all the things that you loved about him, write down all the things you didn't like about him, and write down everything that didn't work so that you can process and look at it holistically. Because what I find is when people miss their ex, they miss certain parts of their ex. Like a lot of people love a toxic relationship because it's always up and down, and that roller coaster makes them feel like they have a lot of passion.
Like spikes excitement.
Exactly. But when you get with the guy that you pray for, because he's so even keel and he's very baseline
consistent.
And consistent, he's not causing you or your nervous system to spike, you know, or like whatever, like cortisol, dopamine, all those things. Those things aren't like spiking and they're shifting and dropping up and down. You're at like a baseline. So because of that, you feel like something is missing. So you need to figure out what it is about your ex that you're still a little bit obsessed with or that you find yourself being fond of, and remove yourself from that. I know it sounds easy, but really when you look at it, like, is the reason that you miss or think about your ex because you guys were always fighting, so you're confusing that fighting with passion? Or was there something actually about him that you like?
Yeah.
And so I think that there are a lot of women who grow up in certain situations where they confuse fighting with passion and passion with romance, and all these things kind of connect back into each other so that they don't have a clear state of mind on whether or not they're in love with this person, or if their nervous system is like unable to regulate around this person, and that's what's keeping them on their toes and interested. Because it can very easily be boring to be with a good guy when you're confusing boredom for when you're confusing healthy for boredom. And that's a big issue a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So I would say make the list, get over the man, start finding things that you value about your new man, and go all in with him, girl. You prayed for this man.
Yeah.
Do not tell me you're going to fumble
God's will.
prayer.
Everything happens for a reason. Yep.
But that's going to be it for this episode. I do want to say, like, Thank you so much to everybody that shared. And ladies, I'm so sorry that happened to you. If you're listening to this episode,
Yeah.
like, where are these men at? Where are these? Well, the first one was a mother-in-law. So where is she at? And then where are those boys?
Yeah.
Grant and I are going to pull up.
We'll pull up on them.
Man, okay. Well, I do want to say that we do not take listener letters lightly. We really appreciate you guys for sharing. Everybody that shares with us, it's sacred to us. We appreciate y'all for sharing these things with us and trusting us with them as well. Sorry. We hope that you guys are doing well and doing better on the opposite side of everything that was shared with us today. And I don't know. I don't really have any relationship advice for this episode. I'm totally stunned. I'd probably just say, like, vet.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only do so much vetting, especially when people are sociopaths and they're really good at hiding who they are. But, you know, so I would just say, like, that's not something that, no matter who you're with, I think you can only trust people so much.
Yeah.
And
well, just make sure that you're communicating properly and getting down to the core of that person, like who they really are. Ask all the questions you can possibly think of. Get all the information, especially before you go into something like marriage or something that is very permanent in a way. Definitely make sure that you know that person inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks again. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable. Like that was a very vulnerable story. So, thank you for sharing that with us. And, you know, hopefully we, were delicate with it. I think we were. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I think
this one wasn't as like fun and crazy as all the other listener letters. This one was like,
this one was pretty intense. Yeah. But okay, guys, thanks again. Keep sharing the listener letters. We will read them no matter how insane or intense they are. You know, we'll read them and read them with care. Yeah. So, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Bye, besties. That was sad.
Yeah.